Hello, today I will be talking about movie review number 1005. This is The Amazing Spider Man 2. The Amazing Spider Man 2 is a 2014 movie that is directed by Mark Webb, who also directed The Amazing Spider Man 1. This is the second movie that stars Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker slash Spider Man. And this is from Sony Pictures, Columbia Pictures, and Marvel Studios. And this was another movie that was re-released on Spider Mondays in celebration of Columbia Pictures' 100th anniversary. Now I saw it twice. First time was in June 2014 at Regal Cinemas in Deerfield Towne Center in Mason, Ohio. But this time I saw it on May 13th, 2024 at Regal Cinemas in Deerfield Towne Center in Mason, Ohio. So I saw it June 2014, and then about 10 years later, I saw it again at the same movie theater. How amazing is that? So, a lot of people may not agree with me, but I'm going to say that besides Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 3 No Way Home that featured all three Spider-Mans, including Tom Holland, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 might be one of my favorite Spider-Man movies of all time. Seriously. Because A, this was the very first Spider-Man movie that I ever saw in theaters, but two, I like the villains, especially Electro, and the music, the background, even the story. I really thought it was a really great movie. Now, a lot of people probably wouldn't agree with me, and that's perfectly okay. But in my opinion, I enjoyed this movie. So, this takes place at the events of the Amazing Spider-Man 1, where we see Peter Parker still trying to figure out what happened to his parents when he was a child. Just like the Amazing Spider-Man 1, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 will open with a flashback of Richard Parker and Mary Parker, but this time they are on an airplane, and there are more details that are discovered on why they left and what they are trying to do. I won't say what happens, but let's just say that Peter does see or does discover this later on in the movie. So Peter Parker is about to graduate, and he enjoys his time of being Spider-Man. Unfortunately, though, he still remembers his promise that he made to George Stacy, who is Gwen's father, who died at the events after who died in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, where Peter promised Captain George Stacy that he would stay away from Gwen. And so Peter and Gwen break up. And so we see Peter trying to save as many people as he can, and he loves being Spider Man. But he realizes that the more people that he saves, the more enemies that he will make. Especially when we see new enemies in this movie, like Matt Dillon, who is an Oscorp engineer who, after getting electrified and is and it gets into a tank full of electric eels, he gets transformed into Electro. And man, the battle sequences between Spider-Man and Electro, outstanding. Even the music from Hans Zimmer and the Magnificent Six was awesome. So we also see Peter reuniting with his childhood friend Harry Osborn, who returns to Oscorp after finding out that his father is about to die. But what Peter doesn't know is that Oscorp is surveilling him, and Harry discovers this as well. But Oscorp was also surveilling Matt Dillon as well. I won't say too much details, But let's just say that Peter eventually realizes that his enemies have one thing in common: Oscorp. Like in The Amazing Spider-Man 1, Dr. Kirk Connors was a scientist working for Oscorp, who eventually became the Wizard. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, we see Matt Dillon, who is an Oscorp engineer, transforming into a Electro, and then Harry Osborn is now the new leader of the board of Oscorp after his father's death, and he eventually becomes the Green Goblin. And we also see a small appearance by Orestes Selvage / the Rhino in the movie. And let's just say that he gets his armor by Oscorp. So let's just say that Oscorp is something that Peter realizes that all his enemies have in common. And that could mean big trouble down the line. So this movie was supposed to be the start of like Peter's greatest battle, but unfortunately, due to the critical reception of the film was eventually rebooted again, but this time, Spider-Man was integrated into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starting with Captain America 3 Civil War, and Tom Holland took over the war. Now, from what I heard, there was supposed to be Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4, along with a spin-off of Venom and Sinister Six. Of course, we do have two Venom movies, along with a third one coming in October. But they were going to be plans, but most of them will eventually scrap because of the critical reception of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I thought it was pretty good overall, and I definitely wanted to see how it would continue. But at the same time, it was really neat to see Tom Holland being Spider-Man, and Spider-Man being a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the same universe as the Avengers. But it would have been nice to see the Amazing Spider-Man 3 or 4, or a potential Sinister Six movie. But after the events of No Way Home, never say never on anything. So the Amazing Spider-Man 2 has Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker as Spider-Man. We also see Emma Stone reprising her role as Gwen Stacy, who is Peter Parker's on and off romantic interest. Jamie Foxx portrays Matt Dillon as Electro in the movie, and he plays a fantastic role as Electro in the movie. Dane DeHaan portrays Harry Osborn as Green Goblin in the film. We also see actors and actresses like Colm Foley as Donald Menken, who is the vice president and head of the board of Oscorp. Campbell Scott reprises his role as Richard Parker. Embeth Davis reprises her role as Mary Parker. Paul Dimini portrays Orestes as Selfish / the Rhino in the movie. Sally Field reprises her role as May Parker in the movie. We also see Felicity Jones portraying Felicia. Now, even though we only hear her character being Felicia, some reports have claimed that that her character is Felicia Hardy, who in the comics becomes the Black Cat. That would have been interesting to see how that would play it out. We also see members of Gwen Stacy's family, along with Chris Cooper portraying Norman Osborn in the movie. In a flashback sequence of Dennis Leary portraying Captain George Stacy, and a cameo of Stan Lee, who attends Peter Parker's graduation. Now, here are a couple of things that I want to know, that I want to point out. Let's just say the minor character from The Amazing Spider-Man 1 will also make a minor appearance near the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I won't say who. But another thing, this movie was supposed to have Shailene Woodley, who you probably know from the Divergent series, The Fault in Our Stars, and many other movies. She was going to be playing Mary Jane Watson, but her scenes were eventually cut because the director, Mark Webb, wanted to make sure that the movie focused on Peter and Gwen's romance. Now, from what I heard, Shailene Woodley's role as Mary Jane Watson wasn't going to be too many scenes, but she was going to have a more potential war in the third installment if there were to be a third installment. That would have been interesting to see, but never say never. Another thing that I want to say about this movie, which I still think is pretty good despite what people are saying. Of course, I think it's one of those underrated movies where people don't exactly like it as much when it came out, but over the years it gained more positive reception. I also wanted to point out that I don't know if you guys saw this. Whoever saw the re-release of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 might have seen this. I didn't see this when I first saw this in 2014, but something happens during the end credits. So in the end credits, you see the logo and the end titles, and then you think, okay, this is just going to be another movie that just have credits with no extra scenes. Wrong. Well, maybe in the DVD version, but in the movie theater version, I don't know why they did this time because I mean I really enjoyed seeing it, but so I guess when the movie came out in 2014, it came out May 2nd, which was the first Friday in May. A couple weeks later, X-Men 5 Days of Future Past came in theaters, and there was a scene in the end credits of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that featured a scene from X-Men 5 Days of Future Past. And 10 years later, that scene still exists. I'm like, holy moly, I never knew that. I never knew that to begin with, but I definitely didn't think that they would include that in the re-release version, but I'm super glad they did. Because I got to see it this time. So it was really awesome to see that. And if you guys saw that too, please say in the comments section. But yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was pretty good. I definitely recommend it for those who are made of Spider-Man fans. And it was really nice to see Andrew Garfield reprising his role in Spider-Man 3 No Way Home with Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire. So even though Spider-Man 1 Homecoming, Spider-Man 2 Far From Home, and Spider-Man 3 No Way Home was re-released as part of Spider Mondays, I'm not going to do movie reviews again for those three since I already did those three. But I was really happy to see all 8 films as part of their Spider Mondays in theaters, especially the ones I have not seen in theaters before this year. So, really want to give a shout out to Regal Cinemas 16 in Mason, Ohio for showing these movies. This definitely brought a lot of good memories from my childhood. So, like I said, never say never. I mean, Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire might reprise their role as Spider-Man someday, but they are working on a fourth Tom Holland movie, so that would be interesting to see, along with a third movie, Spider-Man 3 Beyond the Spider-Verse, with Miles Morales. So they are working on upcoming movies. I just don't know when they will be released. So that's my movie review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Please enjoy my next movie review. Alright, goodbye. Hello everyone. Today is day 5 out of 8 for the Spider Mondays. Today, I'm going to see The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that came out in 2014. This is the second movie that Andrew Garfield stars as Spider-Man. Now, here is an interesting fact. Despite many people probably wouldn't agree with me, I thought this was probably one of my favorite Spider-Man movies ever. And I definitely like the villains, especially Jamie Foxx's Electro. I am definitely excited to see this again. his greatest battle begins. Yeah, we were supposed to do an Amazing Spider-Man 3, along with a Sinister Six spin-off film, but that didn't really come into fruition. However, we did the 2 Venom films along with a third one on the way, and we have something almost like the Sinister Six, more like the Sinister 5 and No Way Home. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the Amazing Spider-Man 2 again at the same movie theater I saw it 10 years ago. This is going to be good.